Okay, so what's the biggest lie that people believe about their future? Believe about that desired future, that destination that they want. And we're talking about professionally and financially because they're tied together. That desired future. What's the biggest lie? Here it is. You ready? I can't start where I am. I can't start where I am. I'm in fill in the blank. I have blank going on. I can't start right here. I can't start right now. And I want to focus more on the right here because I think this trips up a lot of people. It becomes the most viable excuse that the brain concocts based on fear and doubt. So the emotions are fear and doubt, and then the brain processes those emotions and logically comes up with a reason as to why we should not take on the fear and why we should not take on the doubt. That's as real as it gets, folks. That's how it works. I have a desired future that requires that I take action. I have fear about those actions. I have fear about the journey. I have doubt about getting to the destination. I have all this fear and doubt. So then the brain goes, oh, I need to come up with some logical reasons to support my fear, which is I'm worried about a negative outcome. I need to come up with some logical reasons to support my doubt, which is I don't believe that a positive outcome is possible. So what happens is the number one lie pops up, and it sounds like this. I can't start on this journey right here. They're talking about their current circumstances, their geography, their zip code. Now, it's a lie because that's what lies do. They spin a false reality into a truth. So the reality is you can start where you are, more on that in just a moment. But what's really happening is you realize that you will probably not be able to complete the journey or finish the journey or execute or do the whole enchilada, to use a little bit more common language, where you are. And that very well may be true, but you can start where you are. You can. In my book, The Proximity Principle, I named this the law of the zip code. And this is a law, and I call it the law of the zip code because it is firm, it is true, and it is foundational. And here's what the law of the zip code says. Everything you need to get started is already around you. I mean, you live in Podunk, USA. Ken, I come from a town of 300 people. Everything you need to get started is already around you. Everything that you need to get started is already around you. Let me take you to my story. I'm 33 years of age. I have no degree at all. I certainly don't have a degree in broadcasting. I don't have any professional broadcasting experience, and I'm wrestling through for about a year of self-discovery and awareness and walking through my life map, what I had done, where I felt I wanted to go, and I come to the real conclusion that I want to pursue broadcasting. But again, I'm 33, no experience, no education. And at the surface, if I were just to look at a piece of paper of everybody I knew in broadcasting, I didn't have a lot of connections at the time. Now, that's my story. And I'm also in the Atlanta suburbs. Not New York, not Los Angeles. And folks, I'm teaching this from my own experience. I'm sitting there with 3 little kids under the age of 3 in the comfort of suburbia. And on one hand, I have absolute clarity and conviction that I'm supposed to go into broadcasting. On the other hand, I'm going, all the players in broadcasting are in LA or New York. I don't want to move my family to New York. We went so far as Stacy and I took a trip to New York. And we made contacts with a real estate agent, and they toured us around apartments. And it lasted about 45 minutes before I went. Ain't no way, and you know what, that I'm coming to New York. Alex, we're talking about $5,000 to $6,000 a month for a postage stamp of an apartment. I'm not going to move my 3 babies to New York. I got to find another way. In the book, The Proximity Principle, there are 5 places. The place where you are is the first place. In order to really get on the journey to doing what you were created to do, starting that business, launching that side hustle, whatever it is, moving to the top, becoming viable. I was under the impression I had to move to New York and LA. When I realized that it was not possible for my family, it forced my innovative thinking. And I began to realize what would be years later, what I would write as the law of the zip code. Guess what? There was a broadcasting class in Atlanta. Guess what? There were leadership events and local events that I could volunteer for, to MC, to host, and I began to do it. I took the broadcasting class. Through that, I made connections in television and radio in the Atlanta area, a top 10 media market. And I got on radio. I got on television. Yes, they were part-time. They were not paid, but I did it. And it led to the opportunities that I have today, because I realized that everything I needed to launch, to start a path towards being a professional broadcaster, a national broadcaster, that all of that was right around me. For some of you, getting started is about the laptop in your lap. For some of you, getting started is about the course you can take online, in your pajamas, in your house. For some of you, it's lunches and coffees, volunteering locally. Everything you need to get started is around you. I think of Lobsters, the Cousins Maine Lobster, the food truck that has now turned into a national sensation, was on Shark Tank. I interviewed those 2 cousins years ago. And this is beyond my story. Here are 2 dudes, cousins, grew up in Maine. And it's a lobster culture. They love the lobster. They're in LA finding themselves. They don't have a job. They're partying. And they told me that they realized that there was no fresh lobster. What if they started a lobster truck? They wanted to come up with a restaurant idea, but they said, we don't want to move to Maine. What if we just start a lobster truck in LA? And their first truck was serving lobster in a park in Los Angeles, and it took off because other people wanted lobster in Los Angeles. Everything they needed to get started was all around them. You know what it was for them? They had knowledge of the lobster industry. They had an idea, and they said, let's go see if we can sell lobster in LA, and the rest is history. Everything you need to get started is around you. Start today. Life is moving fast.